Hello and welcome to a very, very special episode of What Do You Call It podcast. I'm your host, GB. Um, Today's guests, they're coming on for a face-off interview. So both men, I can confirm this. This isn't just, trying to sell a match. These two genuinely despise each other. Um, I definitely know that from what's been said before and after interviews and even during interviews. They don't care for one another. That's fine. We're gonna find out why, what's kind of led to this upcoming main event. But first, let me introduce them to or reintroduce you to the guests. So the first guest that I have is the former CCW heavyweight champion, The Machine, Bryce Maddox. He's gonna wrestle. I can't even call it arch enemy because it sounds a bit cheesy. Someone he just generally doesn't like and wants to beat the shit out of, and that's the current CCW heavyweight champion, the violent gentleman, Miles Blackwell. This bout also features special guest referee Scott Armstrong, which raises the stakes, but I will come to him in a moment. But first, lads, just quickly tell me how you are at this time. Miles, you first.
I'm doing great, man. I'm on day 439 of my reign. I don't see it ending anytime soon. So, every day's a great day when you're the champion. Bryce wouldn't know nothing about that now, would he?
Bryce, how you doing?
I'm doing good, GB. I just been training hard, man. I'm training harder than I ever have before. I got a few things coming up besides the main event at WrestleBash. I got the Burn Boot Camp Athlete Games the week before, so in that, training for that's really helped giving my edge back. Not that I ever lost it, but
Hmm.
it's really helped me step up quite a bit. And I'm ready.
Fair enough, mate. I know Miles has got a response to that, but let's just call for a minute. So what I'm going to do is ask you a handful of questions. But this platform, I'm going to allow you both to say whatever you want to, no holds barred. But if you can kind of keep it around a minute with each response. So, Bryce, you first for this one. The first official question. What was your first impression of Miles Blackwell when you met him?
um, Gosh, it would have been early 2021 uh, in Jacksonville, Florida, at the Top Rope Wrestling Academy. Honestly, when I first met Miles, I didn't dislike him. I'm a man of competition, and what I saw was somebody that uh, had equal amounts of drive and he's just eager to get to the top, and I appreciate that. I appreciate healthy competition, but what I don't appreciate is someone stealing a title and going on a 10-month long fake title reign and lying on my name, lying on my career, keeping putting his my family in his mouth, man. So that was kind of the downfall of that. But first impressions, I didn't dislike the guy. You can't knock the work that he puts in.
That's a respectful answer. But I thought Miles is itching to respond to that. So, Miles, you next.
Yeah, I'll keep it under a minute because I know how to follow the rules. When I first saw
That was well under a minute.
It was under a minute, to be fair.
yeah, I think our match is going to be the same way, don't you? Anyways, having said that, when I first met Bryce or noticed him, it's kind of the same thing. He came in with something to prove, and I knew quickly I was going to be the one to shut all of that down, and that is it.
Okay. Short and sweet, your words, but
Yeah.
I feel there's going to be more said from you, Miles. Miles, I'm just going to follow up for you then. Can you describe Bryce in 3 words?
Oh, favored backstage politician. There's 3 words, right? Favored backstage politician. It's one statement, but I think it gets the job done.
Bryce, give me 3 words about the violent gentleman.
um,
You can swear.
Not necessary. He's a narcissist, a little conceited, a lot conceited. Um, delusional.
Didn't expect that one. I think narcissist. I think he liked that, to be fair, but delusional. How do you feel, Miles, about that being called delusional
I
as
mean,
one
you
of the
could
people?
call me. Yeah, sorry about that. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I actually respect you, but delusion is when something is being seen other than it actually is. Would you agree with me? Um, my wins and losses speak for me. My championship reign speaks for me. Even with my previous title reign, which was not immediately recognized until I made it undeniable, those things speak for me. So delusion is not something that's in my vocabulary when I'm referring to myself, and it shouldn't be in anyone else's. And that's the end of.
Okay, okay. Continental Championship Wrestling, CCW, Bryce. I feel like the fans are into you. They support you. Miles, I'll get to you. Don't worry, don't worry. I know you what you think of the fans, but Bryce, the machine. I feel like you represent them in a positive way. They want to get behind you. They cheer you. Tell me, what does CCW mean to you?
CCW for me will always just it'll be home. It's like a home base. We branch out, we travel, we work all these other shows, all these other places across the country, across the world at some points. But CCW will always be home, and they have a very dedicated fan base. You're gonna see, similar faces at every Continental Championship Wrestling show that you go to, and some people may think I politic. I don't. I go out there and I compete and I do my thing, and I let them make those decisions for themselves whether or not they want to support me.
Yeah, that's a good answer. Miles, I know your answer is going to be 180 to what the machine said, but respond and tell me, what does CCW mean to you?
For me, CCW is I live and I thrive off of being spiteful. And the fact is that they never wanted me to be the champion. Um, Shows that, and that's caused me to thrive. I mean, given the fact that even as champion for well over a year, they're still asking Bryce to do radio spots. They're still asking him to do the appearances and the movie premieres and all that tackle, but they're not
Because I'm not
asking.
an asshole.
And let me ask you this. I mean, are they going to start getting you for Make-A-Wish Foundation things? And a follow-up question on that. If a kid wished that you would stop wrestling, would you grant that wish? Because I think that would be fantastic.
Oh
Know.
yeah, I
Um,
bet you would. I bet you would love that.
so as far as CCW, the idea of the company is great, but as far as the way that my reign, my undeniable reign has been approached, been touted, and been overall communicated has left something lacking.
Just going to follow up on that, Bryce, with the hate that the fans have for Miles. I know that he thinks it's them, not being on his level, and I see where he's coming from. But do you agree with the fans booing him on a regular basis? Do you think he deserves it?
I think I think that wrestling fans are probably the most passionate people you'll ever come across, or the most passionate fan base you will ever come across. And do I think Miles deserves it? Sometimes I do. I do think he deserves it sometimes. The proof's in the tape, GB. I mean, you watch the tape, you
Yeah.
watch what he does, you see how he cheats, and they're gonna react accordingly.
Do you think that you cheat, Miles?
No, I think he's making an excuse. Did you notice in his little introduction, he was talking about these games that he's preparing for and he's training for? He's going to use that as a fatigue excuse. When I put him on the mat 1, 2, 3 once again. Like, how many times I got to do this before I have to stop doing these reruns? You know what I mean?
Miles, as you've both wrestled each other, but I'll ask you first. How have you found Bryce to be as an opponent over the last few years?
I would be, absolutely full of it if I denied that he did push me in the ring. Um, but he just doesn't have enough to get it done. He's pulling a Betty White. You know what I mean? He's like 99 and a few weeks in, and he's fumbling the ball on the 1 yard line every time, which is ironic, being that he comes from a failed football program at Jacksonville University.
Bryce, your response to Mars being an opponent, someone that you've been in the ring with a few times now?
I think for a long time from the beginning, from the day we met, I think we were equals for a very long time. And I think those times that Miles bested me, he did, regardless of how it was done, he bested me. And I think I'm at a point in my career now where I've just continued to get better and he's become complacent. I don't think that we're equals anymore. I think that I am leaps and bounds better than him at this point. And I think on August 24th, you're going to see exactly that.
Just before I move on to the next question, Miles, do you have any responses to that? What
Wins and losses, and that is it. You know, I didn't win the title and stop defending it for 400 days. I've been defending it right and left, even in a triple threat match where I don't even have to get pinned to lose. And I still came on top of that. So to say that I'm complacent is delusional. There's your word. There's your word you like to use, delusional. But in this case, it applies to you because you're saying that you and I are no longer equals. You're correct. We are no longer equals. I'm older than you, and I get that. You're an athlete. We see that day in and day out, leaps and bounds, right? We've seen the splashes. We see the little Jordan knockoff on your shirt that you've got on. But the thing is, I'm smarter than you, and we both know that. And my drive is something that is unrelenting. And again, you would be a fool to deny that. So leaps and bounds isn't going to mean nothing when you're on your back for a 3 count. And it's going to be so sweet to have Scott Armstrong, who referees my all-time favorite match, by the way, to do the 3 count on my behalf as I put you away once and for all.
I'm glad that you have mentioned Scott Armstrong. He was recently announced as the guest referee for this upcoming title match. I mean, that's a big fucking deal. Let's be honest, lads. Wrestling fans out there will recognize who he is, one of the most famous wrestling referees in history. Can't deny that at all. But Bryce, tell me, do you have any concerns to his involvement?
No, I don't have any concerns. I think, circling back for a second to CCW's the question about CCW, I would say their one fault is that the referees there aren't always on it. And I think bringing Scott in levels the playing field. I think he's a Hall of Famer, man. I mean, he's a legend in the business. He's not going to let anything get by him, and I have faith in that. I don't think it gives me any sort of advantage at all. I don't think it gives me any sort of advantage whatsoever. I just think it completely levels the playing field from that aspect.
I never had a problem with the referees.
Raises the stakes, doesn't it? Certainly. But Miles, I know you said you haven't had any problems with the referees, but how do you feel about you said not long ago about Scott Armstrong refereed one of your favorite matches, no, your favorite match of all time. How does that make you feel? Does it make you feel like a fan again, by the way, by any chance?
No, if anything, I'm excited for him because I'm sure he's a fan. And, for him to be close to the Violent Gentleman is probably going to be a bigger moment for him than it would be for anyone else. Most people that get in the ring with me end up on their back. And, he gets to get in the ring with me and leave unscathed.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Don't think Bryce agrees. I'm a neutral. I'm not getting involved. I'm just gonna look. I'm looking forward to when I do see the match. I think it's gonna be fucking awesome. But I want some predictions for the match. Bryce, give me your predictions for your upcoming title match, mate.
I'm walking out the CCW World Heavyweight Champion, clean victory. He's going to take the Twisted Metal Pump Handle Slam 1, 2, 3.
Mars, what's your predictions, mate?
He's wrong on all accounts. Number one, he's not going to leave as the champion. Number two, he's very confident, and matter of fact, delusional. There's that word again. That he's even going to be walking out. Period. As far as a clean victory, what's going to happen is he's going to lose. I've made it very clear to him he's going to lose. And, this might just be when I put him up on the shelf and you never see him in CCW again. Maybe he learns his lesson this time. I would be thrilled with that.
So you think
getting a bit old.
Remain unbeaten as the champ when it comes to Bryce challenging you?
Absolutely.
Bryce, if Miles is wrong and you do beat him, how will you celebrate?
You
don't have to keep it PG, by the way. You can.
Nah, man. I'm about the work, dude. Honestly, so a brief celebration that night, partake in some festivities, and then back to work the next day.
Nice. Mars, if you do regain the title,
When
Bryce, I'm not saying those words. If I'm neutral, say for example, it's not the Machine's night, how will you celebrate?
same way I always do. I get in my car, I listen to Oasis, and I drive home a happy man. But here's the thing, a celebration typically happens when it's something big, something you're not used to, something, magnificent. I'm used to winning. For Bryce, it would be a celebration. For me, it's just another Saturday.
Quick response to that, Bryce?
It's gonna be a quiet drive home for him. Very quiet, and I hope Blur plays.
I only took like 15 minutes for Blur to get mentioned, but it was mentioned. Before I do ask the final question, Miles, do you have a response to Blur being mentioned in this face-off interview?
Yeah, I would expect him to mention Blur because Bryce Maddox is a lot like Blur. And this is what I mean. He maybe has one or two hits and a legion of fans that are dummies. I'm Oasis, man. This man cannot touch my catalog. You know, 30 years from now, people are still going to be talking about Miles Blackwell. Maybe if he wants, he can repackage himself, and go wrestle somewhere else, kind of do a gorillas type thing, maybe then someone will tolerate him. But until then, he's just a two-hit wonder.
Strong words from both of you. Do you think after this match and after this feud, hopefully does it come to an end, a peaceful end with a handshake, that you two could go for a beer with each other?
No.
You'll never go to the pub with each other and just laugh about it and say, right, do you know what? We had some good matches. We hate each other, but let's just squash the beef. I don't think you're a knob anymore, and I don't think you're a prick anymore.
Mm-mm. Not at all. Number one, I don't drink. Number two, I don't reach out and challenge him. I take on all challenges, anyways. Whoever shows up at my doorstep, that's who gets knocked out. But I've never reached out and said, "Please, would you wrestle me?" He's the one that keeps crawling back for more. So, at the end of it, it's up to him. Does he learn his lesson or not?
We were completely separated. And I don't know if you followed it or not, GB, but all of last year there was a bounty at CCW put on my head for a large amount of money put on by Miles's manager. I'm not saying it was Miles Blackwell, but it was Miles Blackwell's manager that was trying to take me out of CCW. So if anything, he knows that I'm a threat to his title reign. He knows that I'm the only one that can beat him at CCW. I haven't lost since I've lost that title. I have not lost a match at CCW. Okay. I'm coming into WrestleBash. I'm going to whoop your ass and I'm going to leave the CCW World Heavyweight Champion.
Strong word.
Delusion.
Strong word.
Delusion. I mean, that's what it is. I'm glad you brought that word up because I wasn't planning on using it, but you've actually, maybe that's something else I've taken from you. I've taken your vocabulary. I've taken every title you've ever won. I've taken your pride. I'm sure your father doesn't even speak to you after watching you lose so much. Anybody else in your family going to show up and be disappointed?
Fucking hell. All right,
or are they going to stay home and just, slide into my DMs and ask me what happened?
All right. No family mention. Let's move on to final words because I can feel like it's just getting a bit too much. Okay, lads. All right. Big deep breath. All right. Just deep breath. You've got another, less than 3 weeks, right? 24th August. Then you two can just knock the shit out of each other. And the fans in attendance, they're going to be treated to something special. Scott Armstrong's the guest referee. Saturday, August 24th, Jacksonville, Florida. CCW. All the details can be found on either men's social media, CCW's social media. I think there's a few tickets left. Grab them while you can because you're going to miss something special. But yeah, let's just call it, lads. I know it's been a bit of a, bit playful, but getting a bit deep now. Final words as we end this face-off interview. Bryce, you first. And there's no time limit. You can say whatever you want, but just leave the family out of it.
I'm just very excited, and I'm honored that I get to share a ring with Scott Armstrong. I'm ready. That sums it up, GB. I'm ready.
Mm-hmm.
I've done all the preparation I can, and it doesn't stop. And I'm leaving CCW World Heavyweight Champion. period.
You're going to do talking in the ring then. Miles, final words for you, mate.
I wake up ready. I mean, you see that I do put in the work as well. If you follow my socials, social, the only one I've got, day in and day out. That's an old cliche in pro wrestling, is day in and day out. But I do the work day in and day out, and that's going to be seen. It's going to be very apparent on the 24th of August. I've spent the last almost 450 days almost having to, aside from wins and losses, having to legitimize my title reign by people like Bryce and some of those fans and the people backstage at CCW that's acting like I'm a fluke of a champion, which I don't even know if anyone's ever held the title as long as me, to be honest. They can make up excuses, the referees, or I've cheated, or I did this and that. But again, wins and losses, man. I'm sick of this. So, what I want to say is, August 24th, I'm going to get the job done. Hopefully you go away. Hopefully people stop talking about it. And, and we can go ahead and end this the right way. And that's with me walking out as champion. I don't know if you need me to say anything else, but I'm a bit pissed off, a bit miffed. So I'm going to go ahead and kick off and take off of this thing. All right.
All right, fair enough. Don't want to plug your social media handles then? No, he's gone. Fine. Fair enough. All right. Got a bit heated. Fair enough. Didn't really expect that response. I thought Miles would at least sign off and say, come see the show or something. But no.
Miles tends to leave people dissatisfied.
Yeah, didn't really expect that, to be honest. Just, yeah. Can't say I'm too thrilled with him, but I'll speak to him after this recording. Bryce, as you're still here, is there anything you want to promote or anything you want to share, mate?
Follow me at the Bryce Maddox on X and on Instagram. The Bryce Maddox on Facebook also, man. I'm on all the socials. I just appreciate the support. I appreciate you bringing us on and promoting the match. I'm just really excited, and I think it's people are really going to be proud of what they see.
It's going to be something special, mate. I can't wait to see it when it's uploaded and share the fuck out of it, because it's just been years in the making now. Miles, I don't know if you're still there or if you're in the toilet or whatever. Thanks for coming on. But for the listeners out there, if you could follow both men, keep up to date with them on their social media handles in the description below. Keep up to date with what I've got lined up with my social media handles in the description below. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. Take care. August 24th. If you're in attendance, Jacksonville, Florida, you're missing out. If you've not got tickets, get your tickets now. Take care, everyone. Peace.
What you call it?